DORK Podcast with Rich Keefe. It's the DORK Podcast. And Davey. It's the DORK Podcast. Hashtag. It's the hashtag DORK Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag Dork. My name is Rich Keefe, joined as always by Ryan Davey. He is Davey Eyeballs, I should say. He is Ray Von Day. He is promo code Ron Von D. All hail the king of ginger ale. It's Ryan Davey. Davey, how are you?
You're a coward.
How so?
First of all, so for those of you who are watching the YouTube right now, my picture was replaced by that of a wrestling personality in Rich Keefe with his eyes wide and probably half a stack going on talking to the guy.
My best
you know
friend,
Adam Cole. Yeah, your best friend.
Soon to be one day co-host of the podcast, Adam Cole, baby.
You know what? It's one of those things like, do you have, you know, like couples talk about like their free passes? Like if you met like certain celebrity, like it would be like a free pass for you.
Yeah.
Is first of all, is Adam Cole one of those for you?
Yes.
And two, that's a podcaster free pass. Like if you're like, hey man, it's not going to work out anymore.
I got a new host.
It's Adam Cole. I would be like, okay, that's fine.
Fine.
I get it.
You're like, as long as you're happy.
As long as you're happy, and I want the best for you too, kids.
I've never been this happy in my entire life. This is the most happy I've ever been. Ryan, we are rolling into Small Dick Fall. We only have a few weeks left of Small Dick Fall before it's who knows what winter. We're going to come up with like a winter thing going on.
Winter wangs.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Some of you may have been, you know what you're doing right now, you sneaky son of a bitch. You saw that we did the episode on Monday, but you said, you know what? I have a long drive on Wednesday and I'm going to save it. And I'm currently in the car. So I'm talking to you. You're driving in the car right now. You're listening to Keefe and Davey. And this
family's telling you to turn it off. You're like, no. It's not that. It's Ghostbusters.
No.
You know Ghostbusters.
And you know what I also did, Ryan? I don't know if you noticed this. Let me slide this over. It doesn't really play on the wide.
Fuck off. Get it out. Get it out of the camera. Get it. I don't want to look at it.
The tiny Christmas tree.
You fuck.
For those of you watching on the YouTube stream, you can always watch us on YouTube. Subscribe, youtube.com/dork podcast. You, like many others, have said, hey, Keefe, it's a little too early for the old Christmas decorations. You know what I say? It's not too early for you to go fuck yourself.
Well, you know what? You know who you're telling? Why don't you just put some respect on Thanksgiving's name? It's the great, dare I say it, a holiday I enjoy more than Christmas.
That is so not a hot take. It's almost a hot take to suggest the other way.
Is it really? You enjoy Thanksgiving more than Christmas?
I don't.
Yeah.
But it is you are not alone in suggesting Thanksgiving is better. I hear Thanksgiving is better a lot. I personally, there's nothing better than Christmas. I live for Christmas.
You know, that's why you and girl Rye get along. She's a very Christmas-centered person. Yeah. She loves Christmas. Or Halloween. Actually, Halloween is her favorite, and then Christmas.
Oh, so that's good. But so just so you know, this is the only Christmas decoration in the entire house because my wife is similar to you, and she's like, we're not doing anything. I lobbied so hard to get the Christmas, like the real Christmas tree.
Yep.
Yesterday was not happening. We are a wait till Thanksgiving family. But this is my own little space, and so that's why I have this in here.
Do you know what one of the greatest, I will tell you this, though. One of the greatest things in my adult life is my sister married into a Christmas tree farm.
Yes, that is amazing.
So I get a fucking unbelievable tree every single year. Mm-hmm. From Western Massachusetts, all the way from Western Mass, up by Deerfield.
Great. Oh, God, but that's a nice
We got a blue, what was it, a blue?
Yeah.
It was like one of the ones of super hard needles.
Well, you know me, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Now, if I had Leonardo DiCaprio on, I wouldn't ask him about Christmases, but I do know that you like Christmas. Not as much as I like Christmas.
Not as much as you. Yep.
What are we, 10 years old? I've seen every cock on the planet.
Good question.
Are you dumb?
I can't wait. So we'll do some Christmas related stuff, but we're not there yet, Ryan. We're not there yet. So we can do some, what are the big gifts? What are the best gifts that we've ever gotten? That was a great question.
That was a great question. A great suggestion.
Mm-hmm. For Christ's sake. But we have
a blue spruce, by the way. Sorry, blue spruce. I had to Google it. Yeah.
Oh, the Bruce Spruce.
The Bruce Spruce. Yeah.
Bruce Spruce. That's a nice tree.
Yeah.
Set that fucker up nice for you. All right.
This week in DORK. Yeah.
So the day after our most recent episode, the latest Spider-Man No Way Home trailer came out. It was released. We were talking about the poster when we were on last week, but then last Tuesday, and we tweeted out, so did everybody else at Dork Podcast. I also did a trailer breakdown video, which I'm sure you have not seen because
No, what'd you think? I'm just fucking with you. I watched the thing. I did watch it.
Oh, that's fine. I'm still so I'm gonna get your thoughts, but my first takeaway is like I'm still hung up on Doctor Strange's deal.
Yeah, we just need to figure out what his deal is. I mean, that's the first thing, and then I see what they're doing, but like, wouldn't it make sense for them to kind of like okie dokie at the end and be like, that's not the Peter Parker who screwed it up is not the Peter Parker that we've seen before. Does that make sense?
Another Peter Parker.
So it's like it's him in another universe, and then like at the end, like our Peter Parker, the 616 Peter Parker comes in,
Maybe,
and they like talk to each other because I don't know. I'm like thinking like because that Strange is fucked up and like that Peter Parker's fucked up.
Yeah, I just don't think Doctor Strange because two things that really happen in the trailer. Like Doctor Strange is basically like, yeah, Spider-Man, let's protect your identity, so let's do a spell. But then he blames Spider-Man for screwing up the spell. So I don't know if Doctor Strange like leads him down a path, then it's like, no, we're not doing this. And then Spider-Man goes and somehow does it himself, which I don't think he'd have the ability to.
Or what if I go to like the lamest thing, like what's the lamest thing they can do? And I hope they don't do that. Like I hope like that Doctor Strange isn't a Skrull because they've like been swapping them out. If that's the case, like.
But then I don't know if he can have his would he have all of Strange's powers? Like I don't know if he would have all that. But then he's basically like, yeah, these other villains aren't supposed to be here, so you need to get rid of them. Basically implying that he needs to kill them.
And no, but then Peter's like doesn't want to kill them, and then he implies that like that's their fate. They die fighting Spider-Man. Like that's how and they're not going to stop until you do it.
And it does seem like Doc Ock is going to help Spider-Man. It seems like the other villains might just fight him, where it seems like Doc Ock. I bet Alfred Molina, based on the trailer and based on where I think the plot could go, I bet he has more lines than every other villain put together. I bet he's the one they use the most.
And do you think that at some point, like he sacrifices himself to save a Peter?
Yes, I can see that. I also
save a Peter. Small dick fall. Hashtag small dick fall. Save a Peter.
That's something we've been trying to do for fucking years. But also there was, and everybody sniffed this out, and I was pissed that I didn't see it myself. But that final scene where Peter is attacking Electro, Sandman, and Lizard, very clearly the other two Spider-Men are in it, and then they are like CGI'd out.
Or 4.
Or in your case, 4.
No, I'm saying Dark Horse right now. People are saying there might be a Miles Morales sighting.
I would like that. I do like how they're trying their best to keep a secret, and they haven't confirmed Garfield. They haven't confirmed Tobey Maguire. They haven't confirmed Charlie Cox. They haven't confirmed. So that's at least good. They probably didn't even need to show us fucking Alfred Molina or Willem Dafoe, like and Jamie Foxx. But
I think if you just showed the powers, that would have been fine. Like if you just showed like sand or the arm or like a pumpkin bomb, like you don't need the whole thing.
Like the laugh. Just say there's another Spider-Man movie coming out.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been enough. So December 17th has a chance to be the film of the year. I
hope so. I mean, the way that Tom Holland's been talking about it is definitely having me intrigued.
Yeah, I need a lot of answers.
I think one of the Spider-Men doesn't make it. We should take like prop bets like the day before.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the other thing that people were saying, again, not my breakdown video, but everybody else's, which are much better. They were like when MJ get thrown off the building.
Yes.
That hand reaching out to her might actually be Andrew Garfield.
Oh,
basically recreating
but he helps this time. The other thing too is I think if that's not the case, my initial reaction to it was if you look when MJ falls, Ned is falling too, and he's like hanging onto the pipe, but like he's gonna have to choose which one.
Oh boy, unless another Spider-Man. So maybe Andrew Garfield saves MJ, and then MJ's like, you know what, screw you, breaks up with Peter, and Peter saves Ned.
Yeah, because it was very obvious that it was a nod to the amazing Gwen Stacy scene.
Yeah. They're also going to have to make some sort of joke to one of the other Spider-Man villains from the other universes seeing Aunt May in this universe, because it is night and day. They gotta do that.
It's yeah, like really? Yeah.
Like, who is this?
Well, I think there was like Alfred. Yeah, there's like a meme going on Alfred Molina looking at the new Aunt May that he's going to kidnap, and
God
putting the sunglasses on. Yeah.
God damn.
I hope he says something about it.
Now, do you think this has a chance to be the best Spider-Man movie ever made?
Oof, it's gonna be. You know what? It's funny. I've been rewatching a lot of movies, and that was one of them. Like I've watched all of the Spider-Man movies recently. I think into Spider-Verse is pushing. It's probably the best one.
I agree. I like Spider-Verse, and I like Homecoming. I know you have a soft spot for Spider-Man 2. But yeah, also good. So I don't know. So we'll see. Obviously, we'll have a full breakdown episode of that one when in the middle of December. Also, so December is going to be a loaded month, by the way. We have a lot of things, including we got the teaser for
MacGruber! He has a drink or two each night, but it doesn't affect his job. MacGruber! That guy's a social drinker. MacGruber!
Coming to Peacock December 16th. We tweeted out there was like a little trailer. MacGruber's been in prison, and he's coming back.
And what is the name of the person that put him in prison?
Let me look it up right here. I think it's
it's a female body part. What?
It's not as good. It's not as good as Kuntz.
Dieter von Kuntz. Yeah.
It's not nearly as good as Kuntz. It is was it Keefe?
Keefe. Yeah, hang on.
I think it was Keefe. I had the fucking premise in front of me and I just lost it. Yeah, because he was in jail. Yeah, here we go. Let me find it. All right, after rotting in prison for over a decade,
what?
America's ultimate hero and uber patriot MacGruber is finally released. His mission to take down a mysterious villain from his past, Brigadier Commander Enos Keefe.
Brigadier Commander Enos Keefe.
Enos Keefe. With the entire world in his crosshairs, MacGruber must race against time to defeat the forces of evil, only to find that evil may be lurking within. So the cast is already obviously Will Forte is back. Kristen Wiig is back as Vicky St. Elmo. Ryan Phillips is back as Dixon Piper. Sam Elliott as Perry. Lawrence Fishburne as General Barrett Fassus.
What?
And Billy Zane as Brigadier Commander Enos Keefe.
Barrett Fassus.
Barrett Fassus. So I don't know. I think does Peacock release every episode at once?
Because sometimes it's like Hulu, like or Netflix. Sometimes they're weekly, sometimes they're not.
I hope we get them all. But either way, that'll be another thing to sort of add to the pile. That's gonna be awesome. Ryan, we got another trailer for Matrix Resurrections, which comes out Christmas Eve. Where are you on this one? You excited for this one?
So they said it was a new trailer. They really didn't show anything new. They just put it in a different order, basically. Okay. And you did get a view of like the machines and all that, the Sentinels and all that stuff, which was pretty cool. But it was basically all the same footage.
Yeah, I didn't really like either of the sequels, but I think this one. I don't know.
He didn't like Roy Jones Jr. in it for some. Remember he had that brief spell he was trying to act, and he had that like deep Pensacola accent. You couldn't understand a word he was saying.
Do you remember how good at boxing he was until like all of a sudden he wasn't?
I could play. So by the way, I have to write that down. I was just about to say something, but I would pick him in Fight Night. Remember the old Fight Night games?
Of course.
And it didn't matter the weight class. Didn't matter.
He was great.
So OP.
He was awesome. So anyway, I'm half excited for Matrix.
I'm half excited. I'm dinked out for Matrix right now. I'm going into this with the lowest of expectations.
Same.
And hope that it's good.
I mean, it's warm, but it's not hard. It's warm. It's chubbed up.
It does that thing where it kind of like does this a little bit. It just kind of flutters a little bit. You know.
Yeah.
It's a big spoon and it starts to flutter a little bit. You know what it is.
It's ready for action.
Mm-hmm.
The Don't Look Up trailer, Netflix movie coming out December 10th. The latest from Adam McKay. This is the movie starring Gary Tanguay, as well as a cast of thousands.
Mm-hmm.
including a little bit of hubbub today that came out. Jennifer Lawrence is the first name on the credits, and she made $25 million for this movie. Leonardo DiCaprio, also in the movie, his name is not first. He made $30 million.
Netflix is just printing money, huh?
I guess. I guess a lot of people have the.
Is this news because like she's the top name and got paid less than him?
Yeah. She probably should be paid the same, I would say.
I would absolutely. I mean, neither one of them should be paid that much.
No, not for this. No way.
But they should be paid equal. Yeah.
I mean, if they're in it the same, they've probably won as many Oscars.
Now, they've
won one more.
She's probably won. I think she's won more. Now you think of like any other job, right? The more time you're there, and I'm not justifying it like an obvious $5 million pay gap, but like our actors on is part of their quote that like the longer they've been in the industry. So Leonardo DiCaprio has been in it since the 80s.
Yeah, but I think it also has to do with how much money your movies make. That's a thing. Because I would say Jennifer Lawrence, based on the Hunger Games and based on even the fucking X-Men movies that she mailed it in on, those made a lot of money. So I would think she's kind of box office.
So even if she does a bad job, that's
her quote.
That's her quote.
You got to pay her that $2 extra mil. So
this sucks. No, this sucks.
Stupid. I don't know how you fix this, but it needs to be fixed. Seems like an obvious thing. Speaking of, and I don't know what they all made on this movie, but they need to all give it back. I finished Red Notice. Trash box.
It's a fucking. They owed someone a favor. Yeah, all three of them owed someone a favor, and they're like, "Yeah, it'll be fun. Come on."
It's not Cho jeans because that's too over the top, but it's definitely Fryer's helmet. This is a pile of shit, and it's so funny because certain people actually like this movie. I got into the conversation during the crossover on the Greg Hill show. Greg and Courtney liked it, and me and Wiggy were like, "What? Like, no."
It was just so like
exactly what you think it would be. It's so exactly what you would think.
Yeah. And it's like Ryan Reynolds just like shut up.
I like Ryan Reynolds.
I know, but I love Ryan Reynolds, but like you know how his thing is like being quippy and it's being like quick. Like it was almost everything out of his mouth was like a one-liner.
And also I like The Rock obviously very much. You know what his absolute weakness is?
Being the straight guy?
No, well, I was gonna say having any kind of like love interest.
Yeah, it just you know what it is when they I know Gal Gadot is tall.
Yeah.
But like he's so massive that it looks weird.
And I don't know, he's just one of those guys like he's so into like he's either in action or some comedy or then just like I remember his wrestling days and then you like put him in he's supposed to like either be dancing or like a kissing scene and you're like nope. And it's also pretty telling too for people like, oh, this movie was great. It's like, oh yeah, if The Rock, Gal Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds were in a movie, how on earth is that not in theaters? Because it sucked. It was gonna get so it's a big like everybody watched it on Netflix, and it might even get a sequel. But it kind of reminded me of some of the recent Adam Sandler movies. Like it's what it is. It's what it is, and you either like it or you won't like it. But all these characters just played themselves, and it didn't go anywhere, and it was I was let down.
You know what's funny? Like you say that, like I wouldn't mind if Adam Sandler would just play himself in a movie.
He does.
No.
Hubie Halloween.
That's what he really talks like.
I think
that's what people in Salem, Massachusetts. That's how they speak.
Uncut Gems.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, Hash King was saying I was basically tweeting about how if you give me Black Adam, Wonder Woman with a Deadpool crossover, now you're cooking with gas. Get those through on the screen that way. Otherwise, no thanks. Also on Netflix, Ryan, Tiger King 2.
Yep.
And I noticed this is getting panned by critics. 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. Ooh. I don't really understand that. So it's only 5 episodes. They're short. They're
super short.
40, 45 minutes. And you have to know going in that Joe Exotic is in prison. So they do talk to him, but it's like you're watching, like the Serial podcast.
They like barely talk to him, like at all.
Right. And Carol Baskin, it's all old footage because she doesn't want to be a part of this. Mm-hmm. So it's mostly what's going on with Jeff Lowe and that quote unquote zoo. And then Tim Stark, who was the guy from Tiger King 1 who had the monkey on his shoulder that talked. Like, he was like in and out. He was probably like the 10th character on that show, on season 1. He is a wild man, and he's a big part of this one. It's definitely not as compelling as the first one, but I found myself watching it in like a day and a half, and I was like, all right, it's sort of like a follow-up. Like, don't expect Tiger King 1, but for all the other documentaries that I try to watch this year, I still thought it was one of the better ones.
And not to give too much away, but like one of the things that they talk about the very first episode of season 2 is that like how it was odd that a person who hired somebody to kill somebody and was shooting tigers, right? How he became somehow the good guy and Carol Baskin was the bad guy, you know? So it's like one of the things I found coming out of this was like, there are no good guys. Every person in here is a fucking asshole.
Yeah, they're
like
just such pieces of shit.
Even what's his name? Even Don Lewis.
Oh yeah,
So like everybody, you're like, you know what? And I think that was what the filmmakers trying to do. Like, you know what? There are no good guys in this. These people all fucking suck.
No, they all suck. And like, and the animal cruelty is just. They don't show a ton of it, but like the stories that they tell, and you're just like, this is so fucking wrong on so many levels.
Or how about fucking what's his name? Don Lewis with his House of Horrors and Jesus, Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that they got to figure that out. So, all right, Ryan, what do you say we get to one of these today? Let's mix in one of these bad boys. All right, it's time now for Should I Have Bought This? It's brought to you by 47 Brand. Go to 47brand.com and enter promo code #DORK at checkout for 20% off your entire order. It is almost the holiday season. You're going to want to get a new hat. You're going to want to get a new shirt. You're going to want to get a new sweatshirt, multiple hats. They got everything. They're coming out with new styles every week. And I get the emails and I just say, ooh, I want that one so bad.
So bad.
I have like 100 hats and I'm still got
so many hats.
I'm like, you know what? I kind of like the look of that hat. So again, head over to the 47 Brand, and again, let me let us help you out with your holiday shopping. 20% off your entire order. Let's go. Oh, and by the way, you can be a part of Should I Have Bought This, where you just email us dorkpodcast@gmail.com, a photo of something that you bought, minimum $25, and the picture and a brief description and the price. And Davey and I will tell you if in fact you should have bought this. So let's go to Steve. And let's pull this up here right now.
Ooh.
Steve.
Oh, I know what this is.
Emails in and he says, I present to you my Star Wars themed soap from Dr. Sasquatch. He says, quote, I needed soap and wanted to go with a Star Wars theme. I thought this did the trick nicely.
Why do you need to go with a Star Wars theme for soap?
Well, I think like me, Steve, probably a big Star Wars fan. You are constantly going through soap. At least I hope everybody out there is going through soap. And so he got these. And so for those of you not watching on the YouTube, it comes in a nice little display. 4 pieces of soap highlighted by 4 characters. You have the Only Hope soap with Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Wisdom Wash with Yoda, the Dark Side Scrub, Darth Vader, and the Ruthless Rinse with Darth Maul.
So rhymey.
The Only Hope soap's not bad. Different color soaps. Do you want to guess the price first before you?
This stuff's like sneaky expensive, by the way.
Well, Star Wars, you know.
I'm gonna say that whole thing with the box, $60.
$35.
Oh,
35 clams. Yeah, what do you think of that? 35 clams. Nice display case.
And that if you're the only person using that, I know how dudes use soap. If you're the only person using those, they'll last forever. That's like 2 years worth of soap.
I also think that might be 4 of the best characters in Star Wars too.
Yes.
Obi-Wan, Yoda, Vader, and Maul. Pretty good. So 35 clams to wash yourself Star Wars wise. Brian, Davey, what do you think?
Yeah, I buy this. For 35, I buy it.
This is how we do it. This is how we
Yeah, just getting it on the floor there. Because again, 25 and less, the answer is yes.
If anything was over 40,
Yeah.
no.
You're thinking no.
Yep.
What do you think he uses first? Like if that was you, you're in there, you're like, I got to get cleaned up. Which one are you ripping off first?
I'm going to look at it. It depends on what. So let's say heavy grit, 0 grit. And I'm looking at, like, if you look at the thing, I'm trying to see if there's
Heavy grit.
Yeah, if you blow up the picture, so there's one that's like an exfoliating soap, but it's heavy grit and 0 grit. You know, so it's like a slick one.
True grit.
It depends on what they smell like.
Okay.
So if you go like a nice sandalwood, I'm gonna go on that one first.
Okay. Yeah, I might go. I got my eyes on that wisdom wash. See if it helps.
Nice green soap.
Yeah, could be pretty good. All right, thank you, Steve. And again, anybody else can send your stuff in to dorkpodcast@gmail.com. Should I have bought this?
It's time for Davey's video game minute. Even if it takes more than a minute.
All right, David, what do you got?
So this
Fucking
run it back. This portion of the program is brought to you by our friends at Wild Bill's Soda. Go to drinkwildbills.com. Use the promo code Ron Von D. Get yourself 20% off some sodas. They got some good seasonals, some good spices.
Yeah. Love a seasonal.
Do that. Live that. Do that. I got a lot. I actually have a lot of news and tons of picks of the pod that I'm trying to get through right now. So I'm going to rip through this quickly.
All right.
Battlefield 2042 is basically out, and it is now one of the worst reviewed games on Steam. This game can kiss my ass. I don't want anything to do with this.
Right.
So speaking of Spider-Man trailers, there was a trailer. I don't know if we talked about it last week about him being in the Avengers now.
Yeah.
So first of all, whatever. Like, I don't really care because they just came out and said there's no story missions associated with this character. He's just like a throwaway, like just an add-on. Every other character they've had has had its own little like side story missions. None.
So this
Spider-Man.
one's just like, okay. Thank you.
So the guy who's the CEO of Activision Blizzard, who, as you know, we've talked about them. They're a fucking mess.
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned in a meeting with senior administration that he would consider leaving or stepping down if the problems they were experiencing weren't solved quickly.
Okay.
Which is like,
so is
now.
Is he gonna
like now you give a shit? Like, it's been years of this shit.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Years of this shit. So speaking of shit that's so bad and has been going on for years. So remember we talked about the GTA remasters?
Yeah.
Those are so bad. The games are so bad. One, they said they were going to fix them immediately. And two, they've put the original versions of the games back on streaming services. So like now back into like digital marketplaces because they're like, these are so bad. If you want to just play the original, we'll give those.
What a mess.
It sucks. Like it's awful.
All right. What is your prediction on Grand Theft Auto 6? What year will it be?
2024.
All right. I can wait. I've waited this long. I can wait.
Well, I'm talking
by then.
And you hear things like it's coming out of development. It's going to be multiple cities. And so one of the things that tips me off is it's going to be Liberty City, Los Santos, and Vice City, because they're trying to get people to familiarize themselves with the maps again, because it's actually going to be set in 3 cities.
Got it.
Which would be fucking sweet.
That's gonna be like 3 games. Yeah.
Yeah. And Red Dead already does that. Like they have different.
Yeah,
like places you can, which they've already started doing that. So that, so did you see the trailer? I think you posted it for WWE 2K22.
Yeah,
this kind of looks good.
It does. Yeah, it does look good.
I don't know. Like, I feel like they try to do too much with the controls now. Like, I think it gets a little too complex, like doing moves and shit. I think they should go back to more arcade style than a simulation.
I know. Yeah, because it is a fine line. Like, you want to be kind of sophisticated with it, but you also want to make it as fun and like as playable as possible.
Right. Like, you figure how much replayability like 2000 had, like the WrestleMania 2000, and like the character creation was super deep for a game at that age. Like, that was crazy. Just do that.
Yeah, I know.
Just do that.
Yep.
So your girl Amaranth, did you see she was in the news recently?
No, what she's up to now?
So she was telling people like via Twitter that she's going to have to pay. Like, she's made so much money this year, and as an independent, like what do they call, like a self-employed person,
independent contractor.
Yeah, well, it's not because you don't work for anyone else. You so as a small business owner, she's going to have to pay like $6 million in taxes.
Wait,
this
what?
year. Yeah.
How much money does she make?
A lot. Like
Really?
a lot. Like she makes like ninja money. Yeah.
Wow.
So this is what she did. So she's going to have to pay like that much money in taxes. So what she did, she spent $4 million. She put up $1 million upfront for a Circle K gas station, which is going to generate where it is. It's right in downtown Dallas or something. So it's going to generate $110,000 a month for like so she's like, that's how she's going to pay her taxes. And she gets a tax break for that too.
I am so good. And so again, for people who don't know her, she sits in a hot tub and
Yep. As a matter of fact, she's probably doing it right now as we speak.
Riding an inflatable pickle with a Sharpie and writing names on it.
That's all she does. And sometimes she plays Just Dance. And
like,
she
honestly,
is
good for her.
Now buying a $4 million prime location gas station in downtown Dallas to offset her $6 million in federal taxes.
So so that must be from Twitch, YouTube, and OnlyFans. Is she on OnlyFans too? I think so. I wonder what her boyfriend does, because I'm pretty sure she has a boyfriend that like she doesn't like talk about
whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, that's probably also true.
I don't really care. If you want to go sit in that room and sit in an inflatable hot tub for 8 hours, will I do whatever I want and hang out with a $1 million house? Fine.
It is crazy. Like, what a world. What an absolute world we live in.
Yeah.
But good for her. Good for
Nobody bought my bathwater. I'm sitting there on Twitch like a sucker trying to sell my bathwater.
I don't want that. It's trash.
I even got Wild Bills to try to hawk it for me.
Just fill that tub up with
just put it in a can
it.
I'll sit in it and we can sell that small batch is what we'll call it.
Oh God.
Because guess what I'm making it?
I know. Small batch. That's
all I got.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Y'all ready for biz? Ryan, I got a question for you. Are you ready for the topic du jour?
Small batches.
Well, I'm glad you asked, because today it is the topic of the day, and it is Ghostbusters Afterlife, in theaters only, a PG-13 film that ran 2 hours and 4 minutes. Currently on Rotten Tomatoes, it is receiving 62% by the critics and 95% by the audience. We start as we do with all of our movie and TV reviews, spoiler-free. Ryan, Davey, did you like it?
Yep.
Same.
I did.
I also liked it.
Yeah.
Now, I think we've discussed this in the past, but what were your thoughts on the original and sequel of Ghostbusters?
Okay, so I love the original Ghostbusters. As a matter of fact, I watched it recently to prepare for this, and it still holds up. It's like you could make that movie today, and they kind of did here, but if they released that movie today, it would be awesome. Super quotable, super like funny, but just enough scares. Awesome. I love Ghostbusters 2, but because one of those, like, I know it's bad. It's just funny.
Yeah, it stinks. But
yeah,
I'm with you. It stinks, but it's sort of a soft spot. And we both saw it when we were young. I remember seeing that one in the theater when I was really young, because the first one actually came out the year I was born. And if you ever play in that game, what's the best movie that came out the year that you were born? For me, it's probably either Ghostbusters or A Nightmare on Elm Street, both 1984 classics. For you, there was like an Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark came out in
that was 81, right?
Yeah.
But I love the first one. And in fact, I believe Ghostbusters got in our inaugural #DORK Hall of Fame class, right? When we put 10 movies in Ghostbusters. So we love Ghostbusters. The sequel,
there's so many good movies that came out in 1981, though.
What's the best one?
Raiders of the Lost Ark, but then you have, ready? I'm going to rip off the movies that came out the year I was born.
All right.
Porky's.
No.
History of the World Part 1.
No.
Stripes.
No.
Escape from New York. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yep. Evil Dead. Clash of the Titans, which I love. Scanners.
Yeah. Evil Dead might be yours.
It's Evil Dead 1. So like, yeah. Dragon Slayer.
Friday the 13th Part 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, and American Werewolf in London, which I also love. So a lot of good movies in 81.
That's a real good one. American Werewolf in London is a really good one. Now, did you ever see the ladies Ghostbusters movie?
I did.
I've only seen, like, it came on HBO a couple of years ago, and so this isn't fair because I only watched like 10 minutes. I didn't really get into it was kind of bored, and I flipped off. I've not heard many good things about it, however. But what were your thoughts on the 2016 reboot with Kristen Wiig?
It was like it had a couple funny moments, but then it was just I don't know. It insisted upon itself.
Oh,
I don't know what that means, but like I felt like it was trying too hard to flip the script like that.
I gotcha. And so for Ghostbusters Afterlife, even though it is technically the 4th Ghostbusters movie, it is really part of the original 2. The ladies one is very much a standalone reboot, whatever you want to call it.
Because there were cameos, but they weren't the people they were supposed to be.
Dumb, like really useless in my mind. It kind of aggravates me, and it really shouldn't have happened. So you go 1, 2, and then you jump up to this one. So Ghostbusters Afterlife could have really been called Ghostbusters 3. I got a couple of Ghostbusters what ifs for you.
Sure.
So first of all, everybody knows by now that Eddie Murphy was originally written into the first one. How fucking incredible! And listen, I'm not trying to rip Ernie Hudson because I really like Ernie Hudson.
Yep.
But Eddie Murphy with those guys in Ghostbusters, like that movie's still an absolute classic and people love it. But can you imagine what it would have been with Eddie Murphy?
I would have been on and I think he was like 20 or 21 years old at the time because he recently told the story on like Fallon or something, and they're like, because Fallon does that like true or false.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, and you passed on Ghostbusters, and he said, no, I didn't actually pass on it. I wanted to do it, but we were doing Beverly Hills Cop, so I couldn't do both at the same time.
It was Beverly Hills Cop, which again was a trilogy and one of his seminal roles. So like you don't even really fault him for that. But if he could have somehow been in both, damn.
And he said like he wanted to. He just schedule wise it didn't work.
Yeah,
because they were in New York and he was in LA, and he would have to be like flying back and forth. Which at the time must have been would have been, but I do. So the other thing too is like, wasn't Chris Farley originally supposed to be Shrek?
Maybe.
I think in the early test, like he was like, I don't know if that movie would have been the same. Like it would have been a completely different movie. So it's hard to say like whether or not it would have been.
Yeah.
Because you got to believe that Aykroyd and Ramis would have been writing jokes. Because one of the great things about Ernie Hudson in the original was like he was a complete outsider.
Yes.
And like
was not super funny,
but like was just like he was the audience. He was trying to keep up with what they were saying. And he was the one asking questions. So I don't think they would have written Eddie Murphy like that. I think that he would have been like too big.
It would have had to be a different movie. I agree. Now, so there were so many talks for a third movie at the time, in the early 90s.
And they kind of did it, and not a lot of people know they did it.
You're talking about the video game.
The video game, which was written by Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
So there is like the sequel with them. If you've ever played that game, it's awesome. The story's awesome.
People love the game. And so Dan Aykroyd actually wrote a script for the third movie, and it was called Ghostbusters 3 Hellbent. And the concept was that they were going to be transported to an alternate version of Manhattan called Manhelton. And they were just going to be crazy versions, and they were going to do the whole thing. So Bill Murray wanted nothing to do with it.
Nothing.
Bill Murray's right, because comedy sequels, as we know, even from the second one, are usually bad. I can't imagine a third one, how good that would be. But the concept also was going to be to have the old dudes and then a new team of Ghostbusters. And at the time, what do you think of this trio? This is apparently what they had considered.
I heard this. I forget who it was. Though.
This was rumored. So so think early 90s. Chris Farley, Chris Rock, Ben Stiller.
You had me at the first two, and you lost me in the last one.
I know you don't like Stiller, but that would have killed.
What if you did now, but you did like, shit. I
don't know who you would do now. There's not like they don't make comedy movies anymore.
No, if you had, I just had this idea in my head. I lost it.
The three guys from Always Sunny.
No, if you had like Andy Samberg, like early 2000s, like Andy Samberg. You could even put like Jorma Taccone in there, or like
Tim Robinson
and Bill Hader.
You could have done like that class of SNL,
like John Mulaney. Like you could have like any of those guys.
You could have done Sudeikis, Hader, Samberg, and Wig.
And Keenan, you'd have to throw Keenan in there as well.
And Keenan, yeah, you could have. Tim Robinson, yeah, you could have. But anyway,
Tim Robinson is like their lawyer. like the Lewis Tully. That would have been good.
Pretty good. All right, what did you think of the story of Ghostbusters Afterlife?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked that they kind of. It's a good like what happened to them. Like it's a good explanation as to why they're not around anymore.
Yeah, I think it was great. I actually think it was a great job of having the characters, but having them be sort of like supporting characters for this and establishing newer characters, but also very clearly telling you what their connections are to them.
Yes.
But also maybe why this would happen. Like as the story's going on, you're like, oh, they're kind of burying one character, but there's got to be something else about it. And then so they fix that. Obviously, these movies are known for their comedy. Did you think this movie was very funny?
It had its moments, and not in the places that you think. There were some. So McKenna Grace, who plays Phoebe, tells one joke in particular that I'll get to in spoilers that I actually laughed out loud.
She had a few with her rehearsed jokes that she has. She had a couple really, really funny ones. So by the way, Davey mentions McKenna Grace, and I would think that this movie wouldn't be half as good without the cast.
Yeah.
They nailed it. So obviously Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon, we love. You can't do wrong with those two.
No.
But like the kid actors can really make or break the movie and whether or not you really like it or not.
And even the kid who was supposed to be annoying podcast.
Yeah, great.
We can't look at me. I can't fault the kid, but he was actually pretty funny.
We should get him on there. He was good. Finn Wolfhard was pretty good
he's great.
As Finn Wolfhard, who's obviously getting a little bit older. He was playing a 15-year-old. But this McKenna Grace was really the star of the movie, and she is Spangler's granddaughter. But you've probably seen her before because she played young Carol Danvers.
Everyone she's played is young somebody.
Yep. She played young Tanya Harding in I, Tonya.
Yep.
She was in Malignant.
As young Malignant.
Yep. She was also in The Haunting of Hill House.
As young Theo.
And she was in an episode of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. She's been in a ton of stuff. I'm telling you, she's going to be a superstar.
She was in a movie called Gifted with Chris Evans. That was actually really good.
Oh, yeah. Evans, that was one of his real serious roles.
Yep.
She was in Ready Player One, which I don't remember her.
But she was like a nobody in that. She was like young lady or something.
Oh, she was also in Annabelle Comes Home, which was a sneaky good movie. It's one of the better of the
I know. I still haven't watched that one.
Annabelle Comes Home was surprisingly good, and she plays one of the Warrens' daughters. So her career's already been good, but I think she's going to be a massive star. That is my prediction. The action, pretty decent little action scenes.
Pretty decent. There was there was one good car scene, which was pretty awesome. And the effects were great.
Yeah.
So
now, would you say that this is a must watch?
Close to. I liked it, but I wouldn't say it's something that you absolutely need to see.
Yeah, it's one of those where if you haven't gone back to the movie theater yet,
wait.
I don't think this would make you. Like if Shang-Chi or the Eternals didn't get you out, I don't think this would either. However, I do think you're going to enjoy it if you're a fan of the first one, and I think that's the only reason why you would see this one.
Yep.
Like nobody's like, I hated the first one, but let's see what this one's up to.
It's one of those. I don't think I've ever met someone who didn't like Ghostbusters.
That's a good point. Ghostbusters really hits on a lot of different demos and sense of humors and ages, and you're right.
Yeah,
people like Ghostbusters. So I would say, it's definitely when it becomes available to you, it is worth seeing. There's also a mid and post credit scene, so don't forget to stick around for those. Ryan, what is your hashtag dork score for Ghostbusters Afterlife?
I'm gonna give it. It's not a 4.5 and it's not a 5, and I'm not doing quarter stones, but I want to say like a very soft 5.
Oh, you're going soft 5.
Yeah. And I have a reason. I'm going to give it a 5, but I'll give you reasons why it's not a 6.
I'm going to go 4.5, but I enjoyed it. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm at 4.5, and there was
that's the perfect score for it then. The aggregate score of 4.75 is the perfect score for it.
Because there's a lot of movies, because I basically have like groups of movies. I don't know if there's been a 6 yet this year. I really don't.
Not yet.
There's been a couple in the mix, and then I'm obviously a sucker for recency bias.
Wait, would you give Squid Game 5.5?
Yeah, but that was also a TV show.
Yeah.
I've seen I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I've seen 74 movies that have
That's
come
bad.
out this year.
That is bad. I mean, COVID year, man. What else are you going to be doing?
Seems like a bit much. A little heavy there. I currently, and again, knowing recency bias is a real thing, I have it 21st of 74.
Okay. And I'm doing the math. That's like a movie and a half a week for you.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah, no, and I can watch like 2 in a row. Like on like a Saturday night, I'll go back to back 2 movies. You know, boom, boom. I watched a couple other ones. Like I'll might be the pick of the podcast there, but yeah. So 4.5, 5 aggregate score 4.75.
That's exactly where it needs to be.
Spoilers! Spoilers! Here come the spoilers!
All right, Ryan, the connections to the original I thought were tastefully done.
Yep.
And I really, really enjoyed it. And what I was talking about before is they're sort of setting it up, and you knew this was somewhat predictable that they were going to pay it off, but they were setting it up in a way where Carrie Coon's father is Egon Spengler, and he has moved to this place all by himself, and he dies, and they're constantly going around town. Everybody's like, "Oh, that guy, the old dirt
farmer,
like that guy." So they all think he's crazy. Nobody likes him in town, and she's basically like, he's either the worst father ever or he's just nuts. Like it's one of those two.
Yeah.
And the whole time you're like, oh my God, like they're smoking this guy. And as everybody knows, Harold Ramis, the actor who wrote the movie and portrayed Egon, passed away not that long ago. And you're like, oh, so they're kind of burying him, but you knew there was going to be some sort of catch. You knew there's going to be some sort of catch. But I thought the character of Phoebe kind of pushing this whole thing forward was as good as you could have done with like retelling the story 30 plus years after the original.
Yeah, and that was great. She was great as kind of like basically a young Egon at that point, right? And one of the things that I really liked about it is they drew parallels. So every character in this movie is mirrors one of the originals. So you have Phoebe as the Egon character, you have Podcast as like the Ray, her brother as Finn Wolfhard as Bill Murray, and then you had the outsider girl, was her name Lucky, was the Winston. So like, you know what I mean? So that was that was cool. The one thing that I thought that the nods or kind of the callbacks to the homages to the original movie were good, and then they felt a little heavy-handed. Like it felt like a little too much fan service.
So that's what I was confused by, because there was a lot, or I was confused by some of the reaction that they were like, oh, we love sort of the like homages, but the fan service. I'm like, well, what do you want? Like, I don't know. I mean, I think it was better to do this than it was to just sort of take a big shit on everything.
So mentioning the original Ghostbusters, I'm fine with that. The one thing that I really did have a problem with, and I thought that like I was watching it and I'm like, this is lame. Was the scene in Walmart with Paul Rudd, because first of all,
too long,
went on for way too long. There's a ton of product placement, which I hate, and like the whole thing with like the little marshmallow man, like that's, I don't know, like that to me, like that was unnecesserary.
Yeah,
because that's not how the marshmallow man showed up. Remember, he had to like think of something.
Yeah,
that came with Zool. So like I didn't.
There is no Dana, only Zool.
They do say, and they say that there is no mom, only Zool.
I remember the first time I met my my buddy's now wife, whose name is Dana. I all night long just said there is no Dana, only Zool.
Would you just start calling her Zool?
Zool, and then thankfully they still like me, but I was probably very obnoxious when I did that for an entire evening. But
I know we've told this story before, but like me mercilessly making fun of our friend Morgan for dating a girl named Morgan, and to the point where he almost fought me.
Yep.
And life takes us in some strange directions, Richard.
It does. Sure does. No, but I was reading some of the Rotten Tomatoes reviews, or at least some of like the general reviews, and they were like, oh, we love the nostalgia and the member berries, but then also like the fan service was bad. So I'm like, all right, well, you got to kind of pick a lane there, because they're very, very similar.
They're very similar, but not. I liked I like the fan service. I didn't like like the over the top
So yeah, some of it could be presumed a little bit over the top. I do love bringing back Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson in a role that wasn't super significant. Like, you didn't lean on them too heavily. Like, there was a movie without them, and then they kind of helped. They come in at the end. It was one of those movies that you would have a smile on your face throughout.
Yeah, and they kind of did their thing. Like they were in their characters and they were doing their shtick.
Yes.
You know, but it was like, are you a god? And like they look at him, they're like, come on, Ray. Like you know what I mean? Like we've been here before. That was pretty good.
I'll tell you right now, when they had sort of like, it looked like a hologram at first because he's obviously a ghost, but when Egon showed up, looked like Harold Ramis. I know it was like a combination of like a body double, archival footage, and stuff from the first 2 Ghostbusters. I still got chills. Like, when
it was great.
Up, I was like, man, and he came perfect, and he was helping Phoebe use like the ray gun, and you're just like, this is perfect.
That was great, and I'm so glad that they didn't make him talk. Like the people talk to him, and he kind of like nods, but they didn't actually use his voice. I thought that was more movies that do stuff like this need to do that.
And if I was like waiting, I'm like, don't ruin it. Don't
say anything.
I think they maybe even put him out there 30 seconds too long, but whatever. I'm not going to nitpick on it. But you're right. If they made him talk, I think it would have been too weird. My other big takeaway is Carrie Coon is one of the best actresses in the world, and she is just waiting for a massive, like, Oscar-worthy role. That is coming at some point.
It's coming.
You know, she's doing this movie. She was playing Proxima Midnight in the Infinity War Endgame, which was just an odd thing, like all CGI'd. And this is obviously like a comedy, like a sci-fi comedy. But just watching her from The Leftovers and then watching her in Fargo, you're like, she needs to be. I don't think enough people know who she is, because those are 2 shows that people could have missed. And then once she gets in like a really serious drama, she's gonna just blow people's socks off. So, but
hang on one second. I want to see something. And I was gonna say, yeah, and she's younger than me, which is nuts. Like, you think that she's like been around? She's younger than I am.
Yeah, so what is that? What is she? 38?
She's 40. She's 6 months younger than me.
Yeah, but I thought she was well casted, and then her relationship with Paul Rudd, fucking Paul Rudd was great in this, and he plays the I'm excited about science guy really well.
And he's kind of like and he's the Louis Tully, by the way, who I'm so bummed that they got everyone to come back except Rick Moranis. I get why he doesn't really act anymore. So he
doesn't. Remember he got attacked in New York City like last year?
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
Somebody like punched him or something?
Yeah, but it was like a random. The guy didn't know it was Rick Moranis, and for a week people were so concerned about him.
Sure.
By the way,
Potts back, who's awesome.
She's great. Janine Melnitz.
Yeah.
Louis Tully's speech to the courtroom in Ghostbusters 2 is that, and the Billy Madison "May God have mercy on your soul" speech are 2 things that I quote all the time to people.
So good.
Because it's super quick. So he goes, "Your Honor, people of the audience, I don't think it's fair to blame. I don't think it's fair to accuse my clients of being frauds. Okay, fine. The blackout was a big problem for everybody. I was stuck in an elevator for 2 hours and had to make the entire time. But one time I turned into a dog and they helped me. Thank you."
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Oh, good. So what was the joke that you liked from Phoebe?
The polar bear joke was my favorite.
So good. You can tell it.
So she says, "What do you call a dead polar bear?" "Nothing. You can call him whatever we want."
Dead.
"He can't hear you now." Or something like that.
So good. She had a few of them, like she was just like ripping through it, like just to sort of. She was great. She played like the straight man nerd, but was really compelling. So I liked her a lot. Finn Wolfhard didn't do a ton. Like, he was just like,
he didn't have to.
No, he didn't. He didn't have to. But do you want a sequel to this? Do you want more of these?
So this brings us into like the mid and end credit scenes, because there's this whole scene where they, Dan Aykroyd mentions, or Ray Stantz mentions, that Winston has gone on to like work in finance and blah, blah, blah. And you find out that he's running this international company. Mm-hmm. So much like they did Batman Incorporated, they could do Ghostbusters Incorporated and have them all over the world, which I think might be something.
And it was also cool to get Sigourney Weaver back with Bill Murray, and they're doing like the little cards and the shock thing. So you get Dana and Peter Venkman doing that.
Which is so funny.
Like the Ecto-1 is restored. That's a fucking one of the classic cars in all of movies.
And didn't he said that like, we'll get you home, we'll get you all fixed up.
Yep.
And can we just talk about for a second how old Bill Murray looked and how great Sigourney Weaver looked?
Yeah.
Like in that scene, it was pretty jarring. Like they were doing like the 2-shot, like going back and forth between the two of them, and you're like, ugh.
It was.
All right. Ugh.
It was a bit different. It was a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they basically are teasing like another one, but I don't know if they need to do it. I think it was sort of a cool little kind of story talking about how like the Ghostbusters kind of had like a falling out. Oh, so a couple things I had a question about.
Mm-hmm.
So in this world, ghosts have been confirmed, like confirmed. I know a lot of people here think that they've been confirmed, but like not to that level, like the whole Manhattan incident. So they talk about it. Obviously, the kids are too young, but like Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon are aware of what that was. But I'm a little confused because Spangler is not a very common name.
No, and they even joke about it.
Yeah, but that part's a little weird to me. Like, Phoebe's like, well, why didn't you tell me that like Egon Spangler was like my grandfather?
Because I don't think they originally, it was like a Ray Skywalker thing. I don't think they were going by that name.
Yeah, they are.
Remember, she was like,
I thought she was Phoebe Spangler.
No, she says that at the end, or but it's they just say their first name. So I don't think they were, because she was married.
Oh, okay. So
I don't think they were going by that name. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because there was something up with that was I'm like, well, wait a minute, but isn't that their name? So yeah, maybe they didn't know it for a while. Because that husband was just a piece of shit, apparently. Like
that's what she said, and they probably just kept the name, and
yeah.
But they do like the Ray Skywalker thing at the end, where they say their last name is Spangler.
But it's one of those things where, like, once the events from the first and second Ghostbusters happened, how can people call like these guys like quacks? Like they kind of saved the city.
Yeah, but like I liked in 2 when they were like, yeah, you did, but you also cost
a lot of
this much money. Like you fucked up. Like you owe us a lot of money.
I thought we were gonna get some like a Slimer. I guess the Muncher character was the closest thing.
Yeah, I was a little bummed not to see Slimer too.
Yeah. Were you a big Ecto Cooler guy growing up?
Yeah, I think everyone was an Ecto Cooler guy.
Yeah, you kind of had to be.
By the way, speaking of Red Notice, what he was drinking his little high C juice box. I thought it was going to be Ecto Cooler. It wasn't. But one of the things I used to love doing with was it Sips?
What about it?
Was that the brand of the juice box, the Ecto Cooler, or is it High C?
No, High
Doesn't
C.
matter.
No, it's High C.
Grabbing those some bitches and throw them in the freezer, eat them like slush.
Oh, yeah,
that was the best.
What the fuck flavor even was Ecto Cooler?
I don't know. It was green. That's all I knew.
Yeah,
there's like a sour apple. Like
no, I thought it was thing. I thought it was like in the orange department, but it wasn't straight orange. It was just kind of weird. Obviously, it was green, but they dyed it.
It's basically just orange.
Yeah, chat's saying
it was green orange juice. It was just sugar. It was just sugar and whatever syrup they had left over from the other high
it says, here we go. It was a green mix of tangerine orange flavor. So it wasn't. See, I knew it wasn't just orange. So orange tangerine apparently.
Yeah, it kind of tasted like Tang.
Yeah. It's good though. It was.
Love a good Tang.
It was pretty good. All right, anything else?
Just teed you up for that. Just teed you up for it.
You
didn't take the bite. I like
Tang.
Tang. Yep.
I'm trying to keep this highbrow.
No, I liked it. I mean, this is a movie, like you said. I was smiling. I was having fun. I thought the car chase scene through the town was pretty cool. I like the upgrades to Ecto.
I like how he
side chair
built like a fucking enormous trap. Like that's what is like, and like so Spangler like knew something else was coming, and like those other guys were all like kind of like, we're done with it, and and he was all about it, and like that's why he moved there. That's why he had the whole thing set up and was good to go.
Yeah, they said he was like they called him the dirt farmer because they saw him digging in the dirt, but he wasn't planting anything. Like nothing would grow, and so he was actually setting all those traps, which I thought was pretty cool.
That was pretty good too. That was pretty good. All right. Very good. So yeah, check out the old Ghostbusters Afterlife. Let us know what you guys thought. dorkpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet us at dorkpodcast your thoughts.
I think we nailed this one. I don't know. We don't even need the feedback. We nailed it.
That's true. All right, save it. Unless you want to let us know, then you can let us know. It's really up to you. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
I'm not going to tell you your fucking business.
Fuck, it's the holidays.
What are we, 10 years old? Pick of the pod.
All right, Ryan, would you like to kick, receive, defer, or you may also choose at this time to defend a goal?
I will defend a goal. I'm going to go this way. I'm
Okay.
pointing to my left, your right, for those people at home.
I have not one but two picks of the pod for you this week. I have a movie and a comic book.
Hit me.
All right, the movie is on Netflix right now, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, called The Guilty. Apparently, it is a remake of like a Danish film or something. But the guy who did the screenplay is the guy that did True Detective, and the guy who directed it did Training Day.
Oh, so it's Anton Fuqua.
Yep.
And was it Nick?
Yep. Yeah.
Pizzoletto or something like that?
Yeah, however you say it. So it's Jake Gyllenhaal, and I would call it a tense kind of like thriller type movie.
Is this the one it's kind of like the Halle Berry movie? He plays like a 911 operator?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
What was that Halle Berry movie? That shit.
What was that
piece
one?
Of trash when she played like a same thing, like a 911 dispatcher or whatever.
So it was a troubled police detective demoted to 911 operator duty, scrambles to save a distressed caller during a harrowing day of revelations and reckonings.
Oof.
It was like kind of edge of your seat. It reminded me of like The Negotiator or Panic Room or Phone Booth. It was like one of those.
The Negotiator. I haven't seen that movie in a minute, son.
Yeah,
I gotta watch that movie again.
So it's 90 minutes out the door, and you can rip through it pretty easily. And not a spoiler or anything, but it's basically like all Jake Gyllenhaal. Like Jake Gyllenhaal is probably in every scene. Like it's a Jake Gyllenhaal performance.
A tour de force performance,
yep.
You call it?
Yep, I would. And the comic book, I would go volume 1 of Noctera, one of the latest from Scott Snyder. You get that collected edition wherever you get your comics. It might be on the Hoopla app. I didn't check because I picked.
Did you tweet this out?
I don't know.
Did you tweet something about this out?
The guys at TLDR, Dr. Joe and Fryer have been all over this one.
Mm-hmm.
But Noctera was I just finally finished. So the first volume was the first 6 issues, and it was fucking pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
So check that one out. All right, what do you got?
So I got a lot of mentions, and then I'll do a pick of the pod. All right. So
all right.
What I've started listening to right now, the Sunny podcast, which it's Glenn Howerton, McElhenney, Rob McElhenney, and Charlie Day, basically going episode by episode, talking about the behind the scenes stuff, like basically like the Office ladies are doing, but like way funnier.
This must be the best. I haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah, it's on anywhere you can get it. It's called the Sunny podcast. So you just and it's just them talking about what was going on. It's behind the scenes stuff right from the horse's mouth. So it's actually really, really good.
You know that I've been to his bar. Rob McElhenney owns a bar in Philly. It's not called Patty's. It's called something else. And he unfortunately was not there. But me and Katie went one time when we were in Philly for something.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder if it's called their rival bar. If they called it that, I forget the name of that bar, but if someone will probably get it in the chat. So that's good. Arcane is still really good.
Look it up.
I haven't finished Arcane yet. What?
Sorry. It's called Max. Max Tavern. Yeah, fucking of course it is.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
People have been asking me specifically about the Cowboy Bebop live action. It's solid. I've watched 2 episodes. It's good. It's the first 2 episodes are basically the same as the animated show. With some couple cool scenes mixed in. Like I said, Arcane is really good. And then did you know the Marvel character Hitmonkey has his own show? Hitmonkey has been paired with Deadpool and Spider-Man. So he's kind of like that character. It's basically like a monkey that's possessed with the soul of an assassin.
Oh.
And like it's awesome.
Yeah,
but
right.
It's a show on Hulu, and it has Jason Sudeikis is like the hitman, and Olivia Munn is in it. Like I had no idea. No idea this was a thing. Yeah, so Hitmonkey on Hulu is actually pretty good too. And the movie I would say on Netflix that I'm going to watch, I'm very excited to see it, is the actually Andrew Garfield movie Tick Tick Boom.
Oh, I saw that pop up on Netflix.
So the story is it's directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda, our classmate of ours at St. Paul's. Kurt Crowley is in the trailer. He's playing the piano.
Is he really?
He is. He's in the movie.
He's in the movie?
Yeah.
Crowley's in it?
Yeah. So the story, it's the guy who wrote Rent. And he was like a struggling playwright. He was going to be 30, and he was, I'll tell you the story right now. He was dying of AIDS. And he wrote Rent, but never lived to see it be performed on Broadway. So he never actually saw that be such a fucking. Can you remember how big Rent was like back in the early 2000s, late 90s? Like that move, that
was
play,
enormous.
Yeah.
So
I'm
Crowley,
gonna check that out. He is. Yeah.
You think he would recognize us?
No.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. He probably hasn't thought about either one of us. And I tell the story all the time. So have you talked about him before on the podcast?
I think we mentioned that he was like the composer.
He's the associate conductor, and keyboard player for Lin-Manuel Miranda. So basically, he's been on Hamilton. He's been doing all these things. I had to follow him in an applied music recital at St. Paul's School.
You might have told that story.
Oh my God, that was the worst. I remember that being the worst thing ever. He played piano and sang, and it was one of the most incredible things I've ever heard to this day. And I had to follow him and play some stupid fucking jazz song on my guitar. Fuck, that was the worst.
Yeah, he would perform like for the school. He'd like play the piano
all the time, and like the school, he didn't even like do it on his own. Yeah, like the school would like ask him, like he would be like no, and
all right, well, good for him. He's in a shitty Netflix movie.
Yeah.
All right, next week, Ryan, it's sort of an open date. We could do a lot of these Netflix things. I don't know if Tiger King 2 deserves its own standalone, but maybe there's a little bit more to unpack there, or we kind of come back because then the following week, as a heads up, when the Patriots play on Monday Night Football, I think it's December 6th. We will not do an episode that night, but we'll have one for you that week. We'll tweet it out at Dork Podcast what we do and when we do it. But we're going to get into the holiday season here. I'm trying to think what else we have coming up. We are going to do Spider-Man No Way Home.
Then it gets nuts after that.
We have Best Christmas Gifts. I think we're going to do that at some point. We have the 2021 Dork Awards, the Best of 2021, the 2022 movie slate. So we have a whole shitload of stuff.
We have a whole thing.
But the next couple of weeks, we can kind of kick around some different ideas. And so you guys feel free to mention what you want. Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to throw
3, maybe. It's a maybe.
I'm just going to say this, too. So next Monday, the 29th, is the last day that will be around for Small Dick Fall as we push into the winter.
Small sticks.
So we can do smallest, or we can do like just a series of dinks.
Oh yeah, that we could do a whole bunch.
Just a grab bag,
something to kick around. But happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Hope you have a great and filling Thanksgiving. Enjoy some maybe second helping of hair pie if you get a chance.
And we're all thankful. We're thankful for all of you and our sponsors and everyone who listens to us. And thanks.
That's right.
Yes. That's why we do it.
This is exactly why we.
Nah, fuck you. We do it if you weren't here.
We do it so we can talk to people like.
How's that interview going, by the way? Is that good?
It's the best interview I've ever done in my life.
And I've talked to Michael Irvin.
It was the best thing I've ever been a part of. And I have a kid. No, it was good. You should check it out. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Dork Podcast. You can email us dorkpodcast@gmail.com, especially if you have a should I have bought this? Still, 8 days left in November, Ryan?
I was just about to say, so I wanted to thank everybody. I'll thank you guys again next week at the end of the month, but we have already surpassed. We did it on the 17th. We surpassed our monthly goal of $2,000. So thank you to Rich. And for you specifically, and to everybody else who's donated so far this month. It's been an amazing month. I'm just glad to keep doing it and glad to be a part of this community that's so supportive and all that stuff. So what a great thing to say before Thanksgiving is.
Do you want to read the comment?
Steve, is it Bowden or Bowden? Steve Bowden said he came during the interview with Adam Cole.
Pretty good.
I need to unpack that a little bit as to why.
That's not why I do it, but if that happens to be a side effect, then who am I to step in and stop that? You know, we actually have a clip of what was it? It was most people from 2 weeks ago listening to the Adam Cole interview. We have an exclusive cut.
gonna freaking explode inside you. I'm gonna spill it. I'm gonna fill you up.
I'm gonna fill you up.
What?
I'm gonna fill you up.
Okay, just let me do this, honey. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna do it. Oh, 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 oh,
It gets me every time. You know what the best part is? First of all, I can't listen to that without picturing the scene.
Yep.
And the way he says, "What?
I'm gonna fill you up."
What?"
No, when he says he like cuts himself off from saying, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm about to do it." Because also the setup to that is so incredible. Where he's like, they're playing the music and they're getting really close to each other. And
Broken Wings by Mr. Mister, by the way.
Perfect
Fucking great
song choice. And she looks at him and she says, "But I'm a virgin." And he says, "Not for long."
Did you ever watch The League?
Yeah.
With the vinegar strokes? It reminds me of that too. Taco's talking about the last like couple pumps when you're about to spill it, and it looks like you make a face, looks like you're smelling vinegar. The vinegar. If I ever make another band, we're gonna be called the Vinegar Strokes.
That's pretty good. I can't wait for this MacGruber show.
I'm so excited.
I hope
Enos Keefe.
Commander Brigadier Enos Keefe. Yeah. If that show all comes out in one sitting, then maybe we'll do a standalone by the end of the year.
Oh,
if not, we'll pump that to.
Could you imagine being in the writing room when they're throwing names back and forth about a villain's name in MacGruber and someone lands on Enos Keefe? I would have pissed myself at the table.
It was I bet they talked about it when they came up with Dieter von Kuntz, and then they were like,
sure they did.
Just missed. That one's our top.
Like, don't stop. We're not going to workshop this anymore. Like, that's the name. Like,
so I had a couple of music.
Yes.
Quick things to run by you as the music expert in the hashtag DORK shared universe.
Self-appointed. Yeah.
Well, one is more of just what I've been into recently, what I've been listening. Because what I do is with little Cece, we just crank tunes at night. We just crank all kinds. So like, I'll give her a little bit of like a, the Madagascar version of Move It, because she likes that.
Love
and
that
then I'll do one of mine. And then I'll be like, one of hers, one of mine. She likes some of mine.
Yep.
So I've been listening to a lot of Billy Squire recently.
Nice.
What do you think of that? Pretty good.
I like that. The Stroke.
Yeah. Stroke, and was it Lonely as the Night?
Yep, that's a good tune.
Fucking heater.
And what was the other one? Like Take Me Tonight or something like that? When it's the worst music video I've ever seen, but it's like you see Billy Squire.
He's got a few hits for sure. But I was
Take Me in Your Arms. That's the name of the song, yeah.
What is it?
Take Me Tonight. I was right. Take Me Tonight.
Take Me Tonight.
It's the worst music video you've ever seen.
I have a band, maybe the most underrated 90s band.
If you say Insane Clown Posse, I'm going to fucking throw this monitor out the window.
Not saying them. They span all decades.
They're timeless.
So it's not like nobody's ever heard of them. It's not one of those. Like, people have obviously heard of this band. I'm just saying they never, in my opinion, get brought up enough. And it's not like they have a million hits, but the ones that they do have, I think, are classics. Where do you stand on Candlebox?
Dude, I tweeted at them like a year ago. I was like, what the hell has Candlebox been doing recently? And they're like, actually, we put out like our 7th studio. They actually responded to me.
Oh, so there you go.
They're out and they're touring. They got but the song,
they're great, man. I love Candlebox.
The song You by Candlebox is a fucking, speaking of heat seekers, that song is awesome.
Is it pumping gas? I like it.
Cooking with gas.
These guys are good.
Oh yeah.
It's like they've had a bunch of different iterations of the band. It seems
As long as the singer's the same, it's fine.
yeah.
That guy's the shit.
All right, good.
I've been listening to a lot of Adele. The new Adele is awesome, and the new Silk Sonic is just fucking awesome.
Okay. All right.
That's what we've been listening to.
Pretty good. You don't give a
Yeah.
shit, do you?
What'd you say?
Said you don't give a shit, do you?
Not really.